In some cases, great players don't have sophomore slumps. They go on, build, and expand upon the success in their rookie years and then dominate in their sophomore season. When it comes to Caitlin Clark, though, that was not the case. Now, I understand it. Caitlin Clark dealt with a lot this season. She dealt with a lot of aggressive defensive schemes. She dealt with the groin injury. She's dealt with a lot on and off the court. So this is not a bash Caitlin Clark video. This is simply us analyzing her sophomore year performance compared to her freshman year performance in the WNBA and then what she can improve upon. Now, if we're just going off stats for the Indiana Fever, her points per game have dropped significantly. Freshman year, 19.2 points per game to 16.5 points per game this season. But the Indiana Fever also got more pieces around Caitlin Clark, so she did not have to do everything on the scoring front on her own. So I'm not going to necessarily hold that as a knock against Caitlin Clark. We also have to keep in mind her rebounds went down about 1 per game, but it's not that significant. 5.7 rebounds in 2024 to 5 rebounds exactly in 2025. Still not that much of a difference. Her assists did go up, though. Again, more teammates to pass to, more options. 8.4 assists in 2024, 8.8 assists in 2025, and then her steals also went up. 1.3 steals in 2024 compared to 1.6 steals in 2025. Now, the big regression I want to focus on here is her field goal percentage, her 3-point percentage, and her free throw percentage. So, field goal percentage 2024, 41.7 from the field, 34.4 from 3, and 90.6 from the free throw line. So if we just average up, that's 42, 34, 91 splits. Not terrible, especially for a high volume guard shooting 9 3-point attempts per game. That's perfectly fine. Let's look at 2025 though. 36.7% from the field, 27.9% from 3, and only 82% from the free throw line. So again, if we were to round up, 37, 28, 82 splits. There is only a 1 attempt difference between 3-pointers. So in 2024, she was shooting 9 attempts per game, or 8.9 if we're going to approximate there or use the approximate number, and then in 2025, 8.0 attempts per game. So 9 attempts in her freshman season, 8 attempts in her sophomore season. But still, there is a lack of accuracy when it comes to Caitlin Clark and her 3-pointer. She's one of the snipers of the league, but what I found in watching a lot of her highlights here is that she forces a lot of shots. She is a player that thrives in transition threes, transition assists, but if you force her to really create her own shots, she loves that step back either on the right or left side, but specifically that left step back. When defenders really started putting a body on her, making things more uncomfortable for her, forcing her to drive, that is where those 3-point percentage shots started becoming lower and lower percentage, and the 3-point percentage, dropped as significantly as it did. The free throws, I'm not going to lie, I'm not really going to hold that against her. That could also just be because she didn't play as many games this season. The makes that she would have had later in the season would have showed up statistically, so I'm not really going to hold that against her. But even still, for a guard handling the ball, shooting 37% and 28% from 3 approximately, that's no bueno. Also, we look at the turnovers. 2024, 5.6 turnovers per game. 2025, 5.1 turnovers per game. Now, again, you're a point guard. Some of these stats are a little bit misleading, right? Because if you have a picture-perfect pass to your teammate, one of your girls on the Fever, and they simply drop the ball and get it stripped, that is a turnover for you if they technically did not have possession. Now, what I do notice again in Clark, in games like the Golden State Valkyrie game, the first time they played them, when you really put a body on Clark and you have somebody that can keep up with that lateral quickness that Clark thrives in, it gets really shaky. She doesn't necessarily have a lot of space creation in her dribble. She's fast, she's crafty, but compared to somebody like a Paige Beckers, even somebody like a Sonia Citron, I don't really see Clark with the moves in her bag that can help create space off the dribble outside of that step back move, and that is definitely something she's going to need to work on, because these defenders are only going to get more tenacious, they're only going to get more physical, and sometimes she even has a bad habit of dribbling the ball in front of her instead of to the side. And again, if you're a defender and you see the ball in front of you, that makes it easier for you to go and get strips. And I think another thing to talk about with Clark that obviously is just going to come with time is the ego thing. She doesn't have an ego. I think she's a great teammate. She's extremely healthy. But I did see complaints about her in certain games on Twitter with footage that we may or may not be able to find. But she would check out of plays if somebody did not make the right pass to her or find one of the teammates on the cut. But I think, honestly, that's a mistake that a lot of basketball players, including myself, just somebody who plays basketball recreationally, that's just a mistake a lot of us make. And Clark is a human, and I think that as she continues to get reps, as she continues to get better, that's something that's not going to happen. Now, what I do think, though, is that if it does continue in her junior and senior years before she goes into her 5th year as a WNBA player, then that might be a problem. But the biggest thing thing for Clark is adjusting to these defensive schemes. They're throwing doubles. They're getting more physical. Yes, that is an issue. We could talk about reffing on all sides of the WNBA. That's for a completely different day. Angel Reese has complained about it. Clark has complained about it. That's for a different day, though. What Clark needs to do is adjust to these defenses and make sure that she has enough physicality to work her way into the paint, to have small little push-offs and create space, have the dribbling package to actually create space instead of just rim running or stepping back and shooting a three-pointer. There's more to basketball than just that. And I think about Stephen Curry, right, because that is her comparison for a lot of her career. Stephen Curry in that 2022 finals showed what happens when he got in the weight room and he decided, okay, I could beat you from the outside, but I'm also going to be able to drive on you. And I'm also going to be able to make sure that I can score on you on the inside just as effectively as I do on the outside. When Clark makes that jump, that is when she's going to reach a new level. And finally, though, defensively, while it's not a huge critique to Caitlin Clark, defensive rating approximately 106 points per 100 possessions where defenders were on her in her freshman season, approximately 99 points per 100 possessions when when people are trying to score on her when she's the primary defender this season. Again, could have been better. Groin injury held her back from some things. I'm not really too particular about the defense of guards because we feel here at BoxInOne, when point guards are guarding the best players in the league that are fast and just as, if not more laterally quick as the defending guard, we're not going to hold it against Damian Lillard for not being able to lock up James Harden, right? I'm not going to hold it against Caitlin Clark. Oh, you can't stop Paige Beckers and Sabrina Ionescu. Oh, you're a bum. I'm not going to hold that against her. What I am going to say is, though, if she continues to be exploited on the defensive end, then that might be something she just has to clean up. Again, Stephen Curry used to be taken out of tight games in defensive possessions. Now he has gotten stops, timely stops in the playoffs and regular season. The John Morant stop in that 2022 series comes to mind. That is who Stephen Curry became. Caitlin Clark just simply has to make sure she's not exploitable on defense 24/7. But with that being said, though, guys, that is going to do it for us today at BoxInOne. As always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow all of our socials in the description. The TikTok just hit 150 followers. Thank you so much for that. And the Instagram just hit 100 followers. So triple digits on everything now. Love to see it. We've got slideshows. We've got analysts. We've got anything you want when it comes to basketball. And humbly speaking, I think we are the best page, small page that talks basketball creatively. That is our entire MO and BoxInOne Season 2 with 2 new co-hosts. You can also see that announcement on our TikTok coming September 20th, so look forward to that. But again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all in the next one.